Hello. My channel is up to the minute with the latest in entertainment, literature entertainment. So that means this week, or this time, I'm going to be talking about Free Air, which was written by Sinclair Lewis in 1919. Only, 106 years ago or something like that. So, I thought this was really a great read. I very much enjoyed it. I got it free on Apple Books and read it on my iPad mini here. So you can read it for free if you care to. I mean, and it was really good. What it involves is it's kind of a feminist novel in a way. It involves a woman named Claire and her father, who are wealthy people. Well, felt relatively wealthy. He owns some kind of businesses and so forth in New York City, and they are from Brooklyn Heights, which is a ritzy neighborhood right across the bay there in Brooklyn. And they are taking a automobile trip in 1919 from um, Minnesota. The car is shipped to them in Minnesota, and they're going to drive from Minnesota to Seattle. And Claire is going to do the driving. The dad doesn't drive at all, so he's just a passenger. And so they set out and start driving and go through a little town. And through that little town, a fellow from the town who owns a garage there, a mechanic, but owner of this automobile repair place, the early days of automobile stuff, um, named Milt. So they're set out on the trip, and this is the olden times here. So there's no super highways. There's apparently a lot of roads that are not really paved, so they're going down down roads that are kind of muddy and have ruts in them and so forth. That you follow the ruts. You've seen maybe roads like that where there's two tracks where the automobile goes down the tracks and a little lump in the middle. And it starts out, they get caught in a hole where their car just slips into this trap, actually, in the middle of the road. Couldn't go around it, and the car is stuck. So Claire gets out and walks to a nearby farmhouse, and the farmer. Turns out that the farmer has dug this hole, and this is his scam. He gets like $5 or whatever to come up with his horses and pull these cars out. So along comes Milt in his little runabout, Teal, the name of his automobile, which seems like a sort of a sports car. And he comes up and he says, "Okay, well, I'll pull you out." And the whole scam with the farmer is exposed, and so that's he rescues them and sets them back on the road. And but in the meantime, he found out that they're headed to Seattle, so he says, "Well, I'm going to go to Seattle too," because he's kind of having love at first sight with Claire here. So they go along, and there's various other things that go on wrong with the car. The brakes burn out as they come down mountain passes. Other things go on, a hitchhiker. She picks up somebody, and he's like hanging on to the the floorboards, the things the outside of the car on the old cars, and running board. I think that's what they're called. and he starts, flirting with her, and getting like really obnoxious, and really, and intimidating dad, and really, it's a bad situation, and she's kind of trapped with this guy, and he's grabbing the steering wheel, and says, I can roll you off this hill right here, and I'll jump off, and you guys will be in the car, and you're just going to spin and die unless you do what I say. So Milt comes along and saves them again. So Milt keeps coming along in the trip there, and Milt and Claire start having kind of a relationship. They become friendly, and he camps along the way, and they do some a little bit of camping together, and he prepares meals with his little camp stove and so forth. Um, Oh, he saves them from a horrible motel room in one crappy little town. These are the days before the Holiday Inns or whatever along the line here. So you go through the town, and you go to whatever boarding house there is, and so this whole picture of early motoring was quite interesting. I mean, I'm not a car fan at all, so. But it really appealed to me because it was interesting to see how it all started in a way. And there's a lot of charm and stuff in the story, and it was really an engaging story. And we see how Milt and Claire start really building a relationship, and they're really getting close, and she's starting to like kind of like him, and he definitely likes her, but they are completely different classes. He's basically a townie, a hick along the way, and they're referred to that. The New York people just like the old cliche of New Yorkers now is like anybody east west of New Jersey is just just well, now red staters, I guess, just ignorant and not worth not worth dealing with, really, so forth. So ultimately, the whole thing shifts when she kind of encourages him to go to school to become an engineer, because he does have aptitude for that, and says, well, when you get to Seattle, you should go to the college there, and go to engineering school and become an engineer. And he says, yeah, I can do that, and I can do it in like 2 years instead of the 4 years that it usually takes. So then they get to Seattle, and she has people in Seattle, the Gilsons, and they're another new rich, you know, the rich people in Seattle, and they go to the opera, and they wear evening clothes to the opera, and all these things that this sort of royalty kind of thing, this sort of uh, kind of new rich American royalty wannabiness. But it's taken for real, and they get a little more education. And she also has this guy who's a little older than her, Jeff, who is back from Brooklyn Heights, and he comes out and meets them on the way because he's going to he's interested in doing some mining, and investigate some mining situations out there, and so he is pursuing her in a way as well. So he's kind of the rival of Milt there. So it all comes to a head, and it turns from this Sinclair Lewis does a really good job of getting, and this is an early novel of his, of getting us engaged in this sort of pleasant kind of love road story, and then it all comes to a head and kind of shifts once they get to Seattle, and becomes really a class story, a story of class, and a story of the pretensions of the richer people, and the Gilsons and other rich people in the family there uh, sort of align with this Jeff, and they try to humiliate Milt, who doesn't have the right clothes, and they keep inviting him over so they can humiliate him, and kind of show Claire that he's not good enough and so forth. But it all switches when Claire really gets on to this, and then takes them all in this one scene to a one of their relatives who is living in a shack off in Seattle in the bad part of town. And but she's one of the relatives, and she all with all of them there, as well as Jeff, she sort of lays down what it's all about and says, well, they Claire, your granddaddy was so and so, and he made his money out of selling liquor and black people, being a slaver, and sort of punctures the balloon of their pretensions, and so it all ends up going that way. And it was really good. I really enjoyed the novel. So if you wanted to read a novel like that, you can't go wrong, for free, and it's free in other places too, like archive.org. Free air, and it's called free air because when she's going through the gas stations, there's she sees a air pump thing for tires, and it says free air, so that's where the title comes from. But it's really, it also serves as a sort of metaphor for her freedom, and the free of air, and the free of the pretensions, and free airs, I guess. Yeah, the free of the airs, and uh, how she and Milt can have kind of a more outdoors kind of life, instead of going to the opera, and her being a society woman and all that, how they can do these other things that are open and free, and out in the open. So I really liked it, and while I was just the night before I finished the novel last night, I watched a movie called Spencer, which is with um, um, Kristen Stewart playing Lady Diana, uh, Diana Spencer. So that was really good. It was on Netflix. It was the last day of it on Netflix, so I don't know where you can see it. It's from 2021, and it really fit in with the novel, because it is, she's kind of the person who wants to be free and is sort of natural, and is caught in this web. It shows this moment where it's Christmas time in, I guess, 1991. I read somewhere where she's having Christmas with the royals. And, so they all gather at this one place, and the queen's there, and all the family, and they go through all these like rituals, like such and such king in the olden days had them weighed, like it would be weighed when they go in. So one of the servants weighs them as they come in, and the idea is that you're supposed to weigh more when you leave, because you were enjoying the Christmas and the bounty of the wealth of the royals, and so you're going to get a little fatter. Um, so Diana is a complete rebel at this point. The boys, Harry and Andrew, are, they're young. They're like, well, maybe 6 and 10, it seems. And she's estranged from Charles already, and she knows that Charles, unimaginative as he is and sort of, lost, has given Camilla, who he ended up marrying, I guess, who is what, queen now? I don't know. He I'm not into the royals at all, so it was weird watching this. Uh, so he gives Lady Di for or Diane Spencer, this beautiful pearl necklace, big pearls, very expensive pearls, and she knows that Camilla got the same present. So how unimaginative. And there's no scenes between any. There's like one brief scene where she talks to Charles, and then there's another brief scene where she talks to the queen just for a moment. But all the rest of the time, she's talking to the servants and she's looking for help with the servants and she's like relating to the servants and she keeps wanting to escape and go back to her home. The whole thing is set. There's a title card in the beginning that say it's based on the tragedy of Lady Diana, but it's really just not a real story. It's not a biography. So she keeps wanting to go back home to her childhood home, which is boarded up and just a little bit away from where, like walking distance away from where she is with the whole royal family, who have to go through all these rituals, and they all have to come to the dinner table before the queen arrives, and they all have to, start eating all the same plates, and they are portrayed as stiff and none of them happy in any sort of sense. They're all kind of glum looking, but just going through the motions of this tradition that they have to uphold, and only Diana and the boys have anything sort of human going on with them, and but that's a problem for everybody else. So that was really good, and it kind of went along with the class thing in this book, Free Air. So thank you for watching. I'm reading a brand new book now, so I'll have something a little more up to date next time. Although I thought this was completely up to date as well, because we read about we're hearing from the Epstein files now about the horror of the upper class, and how this phony horrible people they all are, and how we're kind of trapped under them like this, and it's kind of shocking, really. Thank you for watching.